Hello everyone. In today's we'll be diving into Dante's Divine Comedy, focusing on one of the sins in Inferno, specifically the sin of gluttony. Written by Dante Alighieri in the early 14th century, Divine Comedy is a powerful epic that takes the reader on a journey through hell, purgatory, and paradise, revealing moral lessons and exploring the consequences of sin. In this video, we'll focus on the third circle of hell, where the gluttonous suffer for their sins. Let's dive into the world of gluttony and explore the symbolic meaning behind it in Dante's work. What is gluttony? Gluttony in Dante's Inferno goes beyond simply overeating. It symbolizes excessive desire and a lack of self-control. Gluttony represents those who, driven by an insatiable appetite, consumed food and pleasures without moderation. Dante's portrayal of gluttony is not just about food, but rather about the uncontrollable indulgence in any material pleasure, symbolizing a deeper moral flaw. In the context of Dante's medieval worldview, gluttony was seen as one of the 7 deadly sins, which represented a failure to live a life of balance and moderation. Those who committed this sin in Dante's time were seen as slaves to their desires, unable to control their basest urges. The third circle, the punishment for gluttons. In Inferno, Dante travels through hell and encounters souls suffering for their sins. In the third circle, gluttons are condemned to an eternity of suffering, under a torrential, freezing rain of slush and filth. These souls are submerged in dirty, icy water, representing the self-indulgence they experienced in life. They lie in the muck, unable to escape the unceasing downpour of filthy water, a stark contrast to the overindulgence in food they once enjoyed. Dante's vivid description of this punishment serves as a powerful lesson about excessive consumption and its consequences. The gluttons are trapped in a state where their cravings for pleasure never cease, just as in life. They could never satisfy their greed. They are forever hungry, but cannot find satisfaction. This eternal frustration reflects the endless cycle of desire and disappointment that accompanies unchecked indulgence. Cerberus, the monster of gluttony. One of the most memorable figures in the third circle is Cerberus, the three-headed dog from Greek mythology. In Inferno, Cerberus is a terrifying guardian of the gluttonous souls, tormenting them as they wallow in the filth. Cerberus symbolizes the incessant nature of desire, never allowing the gluttons to escape their eternal suffering. Cerberus is described as tearing at the souls of the gluttons, just as they once tore at their food without thought or restraint. The presence of this monstrous figure highlights the never-ending nature of gluttonous hunger, and the eternal punishment they endure reflects the consequences of a life lived without moderation or self-control. The gluttonous souls, who are they? The souls in the third circle are not specific historical figures, but rather represent those who in life gave in to their appetites without restraint. They include both famous figures and anonymous souls, who, driven by their desires, are now suffering the consequences of their indulgence. These souls represent the human tendency to prioritize immediate pleasure over long-term satisfaction or spiritual well-being. While Dante doesn't focus on naming historical individuals for this sin, the punishment of gluttony affects anyone who failed to exercise restraint. This universal depiction suggests that gluttony is not simply a personal failing, but a societal and moral problem that impacts everyone who succumbs to it. The moral lesson of gluttony. What makes the punishment for gluttony so impactful is the moral lesson. It teaches that excessive indulgence and the lack of self-control leads to eternal suffering. Dante's depiction of gluttony is a direct commentary on the dangers of living a life driven by unchecked desires. In a broader sense, gluttony is a reflection of how too much of anything, whether food, wealth, or pleasure, can become a destructive force. Through the suffering of the gluttonous souls, Dante emphasizes that balance and moderation are essential for a meaningful, virtuous life. The punishment they endure serves as a cautionary tale, reminding the reader that excess comes with dire consequences. 6. Conclusion. What can we learn from the gluttonous? The punishment of the gluttonous in Dante's Inferno is a powerful symbol of the dangers of living a life without restraint. By portraying the endless suffering of these souls, Dante shows how overindulgence can lead to eternal frustration and despair. Moral lesson is clear: without moderation and self-control, humans risk being trapped in their own desires, unable to find true satisfaction. Ultimately, the third circle of hell serves as a reminder that balance is essential to a fulfilling and virtuous life. Whether in food, wealth, or any other pleasure, moderation is key. That's it for today's exploration of the sin of gluttony. In Dante's Divine Comedy, we've seen how gluttony is not just about food, but a deeper moral failure, and how Dante uses vivid imagery to teach the importance of self-control and balance in life. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more content on Dante's work and other fascinating topics from literature. Thanks for watching, and remember, moderation is key.